Xbox gets a timed exclusive, Remnant gets a next-gen upgrade, and Mass Effect excels on the Xbox Series X. Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. So we have a couple of things to go over today. Let's just start off with some Xbox exclusives, or rather a timed exclusive. Now Xbox has one very big exclusive coming out this year, and that is Halo Infinite. It was also reported earlier this year that Microsoft struck a deal with the developers of Stalker 2 to make their game exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. Well, reports now suggest that Stalker will actually not be an exclusive, but it will rather just be a timed exclusive that will be releasing on the PlayStation as well next year. Comic book reports the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S have two notable exclusives releasing this year, or so we thought. One of these games is Halo Infinite, which is probably the biggest exclusive release this year across all of Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo. In addition to Halo Infinite, Microsoft has also struck a deal to get Stalker 2 as a console exclusive. At the time this was announced, there was no word of the deal being a timed exclusive, but apparently it is. Stalker 2 may not come to the PlayStation 5 this year, but it looks like it won't be releasing that far after the Xbox version drop sometime this holiday season. In a normal year, this won't be a huge loss for Xbox, but 2021 isn't a normal year. There is hardly any compelling games currently slated for 2021, making Stalker 2 a pretty marquee release for the year. So it looks like the deal that Xbox struck with Stalker is the same as the deal that Sony got with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now in the end, if you are a fan of Stalker and game on Xbox, it is still a win for you because Stalker will be on Xbox Game Pass. Now I have always held the same opinion when it comes to exclusive games. Although I understand the need for them and I don't mind them, I always want as many people as possible to play the games. True gaming fans want as many people as possible to play great games and not gatekeep them behind a piece of plastic to score some type of victory or what they perceive to be some sort of victory. Now I do understand that not everybody is going to agree with that take, but that is how I feel. So I do think that Stalker 2 being available for more people is a good thing. It is good for the developers who can now make more money. I do believe Stalker is considered to be an indie game if I'm not mistaken, so it is probably a small team that is working on it, and it's also good for the players who now get to experience the game on their preferred console of choice. But then moving on to other gaming related news, Remnant from the Ashes got a free next gen upgrade for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Now you might have heard me talk about this game before because it was added to Game Pass, but Games Radar reports Remnant from the Ashes is receiving a free next gen upgrade for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 players later this week. As revealed by the developer, the upgrade is a major patch that will add the option to run the game at 4K resolution at 30 frames for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, or 1080p resolution at 60 frames on both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S when it releases on the 13th of May. Now last night when I was scrolling through Game Pass, I was actually looking for something to play, and Remnant definitely caught my attention. So if you are a member of Game Pass and you are looking for something to play, I would definitely recommend that you jump into this game. And then speaking of games in 4K, as most of you know by this point, Mass Effect is releasing a remaster of their game, and if the benchmarks are anything to go by, there seems to be quite a discrepancy between Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to performance. EGM reports Mass Effect Legendary Edition will have two different graphical options for every platform, quality and performance. If that wasn't obvious, quality prioritizes graphical fidelity and performance prioritizes frame rate. The latter is when the Xbox Series X has an advantage over the PlayStation 5. Now I feel at this point it is pretty standard for the current generation consoles to have two performance modes, but they do go on to say where the Xbox Series X boosts 1440p at 120 frames per second in performance mode, the PlayStation 5 only hits 1440p at 60 frames, both boost 60k at 60 frames in quality mode. So So that is double the frame rate for the Xbox in performance mode. Now EGN does go on to say the discrepancy here probably has something to do with how BioWare is releasing the remaster, since the Legendary Edition is releasing as an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 game. Next gen consoles will be running it as a backwards compatible title. Xbox has done a lot of work to ensure that it is easy for backwards compatible titles to hit higher resolutions and frame rates on the Xbox Series X without the developer having to put too much extra effort. Sony meanwhile has made it more challenging, which is probably why Legendary Edition won't be hitting 120 frames. Now I feel like the last part is very important. The hard work that Xbox is putting in behind the scenes is starting to pay off in a big way. There is a big gap between Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to backwards compatibility, and it is starting to show. Now, do I feel like this is a massive issue? Hell no. The game is going to look great on both consoles, and 60 frames is more than enough. In fact, most people's TVs can't even support 120 frames, so it really doesn't matter that much. But the work that Xbox is putting in order to preserve games should be commended, and the effort is definitely paying off for Xbox. And although I do feel that 60 frames is enough, 120 frames for those who can actually support it is definitely worth it, and I am glad that Xbox is giving their gamers that type of option. But on that note, this is where I'm going to end it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, and as always, please remember to stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and I hope to see you again soon.